Hi there. So, I wanted to make a video for one because my recording stuff has been kind of down and I haven't gotten any new episodes out, and two, because I wanted to go over my philosophy and how I create these Let's Play videos. For one, my major thing that I want to do is I sort of like to catalog my games, which means instead of going for, upscaled resolution and making it as good as it can possibly look, I'd rather record it exactly how it is coming out of the console or the system or whatever it's coming out of and display it that way on YouTube. And that's why I frequently upload videos that are still in standard definition, even though YouTube now accepts, 1080 60 frame videos like this one will be. I just find it a better way to show what the game was truly, because I believe that Let's Plays are about the game, and if I'm cataloging them for my own purposes, really, for myself, then I want to show them how they were and how I'm playing them. So I'm going to go over my setup and then a little bit about the technical aspects, because I know a lot of these videos don't actually go into that. In fact, they almost never go into the actual technical side of the recording aspects and what actual consoles will give you resolution-wise and things like that. And then go through the editing a little bit. So why don't we turn around and I will show you my setup. So as you can see, I've got an entertainment system here with my TV above it, and inside I've got my consoles, a VCR, got other consoles over there, and the most important part about all this is that I've got two RCA S-Video switchers set up here. And essentially, that's super important because when I'm recording, I want to be able to see what I'm doing on the TV screen. So all of this goes through those switchers and goes out S-Video into the TV. And the clock's really important because that'll let me keep track of how long the episode has been going. And then from there, the switcher that I have on the left actually has two outputs. So I send an S-Video cable all the way around the room, and it comes down to behind here, where I've actually got my capture card. And as you can see, instead of the regular red, yellow, red, or yellow, red, white plugs that there usually are, there's a black S-Video cable there instead. And I'll get into why I use S-Video later, but it has to do with the quality. So that capture card goes then into my PC, which then gets recorded by the capture software. As you can see, right there. I'm rocking some Final Fantasy 1 right now, and it's also on this side. So I can see exactly what I'm doing, and I don't have to deal with the lag associated with the capture card software, because it does have a noticeable lag, and some games are just sort of unplayable that way. Anyways, now let's take a look at what I do with the footage once I've captured it, and how I deal with different types of footage. Generally, when I'm working with footage that's in standard definition, I'll usually just leave it in standard definition, and I won't upscale, and that's because I'm a purist, and I want to leave the game and catalog it how it actually is. Though, technically, some of the older consoles before PlayStation are in 240p, but we'll talk about what that means a little bit later. And in fact, you can see a huge difference in the resolution between a 240p really old console and a PlayStation game at 480p, and then interestingly enough, the PlayStation 2 had some standard definition games that were in widescreen, which look really cool and are really interesting. And then from there we went into 720p and then into a full 1080p 60 frame game. And speaking of PC games, these usually end up being the highest quality games that you can capture from, mostly because they have upgraded graphics and generally render better. Not only that, but they usually run in 60 frames a second and do a full 1080 resolution. From these two clips here, the one up top being PC and then the one on the bottom being from a console, you can actually see there is a huge difference in the quality of the textures and lighting and everything like that. But also, if we see the true resolution of the console footage, you'll see that it's actually rendered in 720 and just upscaled to 1080, which is not as good. Now, I've mentioned 240p a few times, and this is only because some capture cards actually can't see 240p footage coming from a console, so you have to make sure that your capture card supports it. I've put together a little list that'll show you the best possible native resolution and cable to use for each console. There are a few little interesting tidbits in here, like the fact that by Generation 6 we have widescreen standard definition, and by Generation 7 we have full high definition resolution, as well as most things before Generation 4 being 240 or under in resolution, and those are the ones that can't be picked up by newer capture cards. I'll also point out that the Nintendo GameCube, while it can do component, it's a very expensive cable on eBay, and so it might just be better to go through S-Video for it. Now, onto audio. Now, in terms of audio, there's generally only two ways to do this. Either you go straight from your microphone into your computer via an audio interface and record your audio separately from your video and then sync it up later, or you could do what a lot of Let's Players do and bake in your audio with some sort of mixer where you just have your microphone plugged in and your game console's audio plugged in, mix them yourself through headphones, and then the output of this mixer is what would go to the capture card. Now, I use this method because it gives you some more control afterwards, and you can level your audio how you want without, a possible mess up happening in the middle. But there's a great deal of sense to the baked-in format because it'll sync your audio perfectly every single time. Now, when you're recording on a PC and you're doing this through software, the software usually has an option to either bake in your audio right there for you, or you can always open up something like Audacity and just record your audio separately and sync it later. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into how to record Let's Plays from consoles, and I didn't really go over the software too much, but it's really easy, usually through Fraps or DxStory or whatever software you're going to be using to record footage from the PC. For a microphone, I'd just recommend a cheap condenser mic. They're usually about $100 or less, depending on what you get, and it's really easy to set all this up. It just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of know-how, and I think throughout this video, if you use the information there, you'll get set up and you'll be ready to make Let's Plays of your own. So, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.